goodness, what is that? I think it's just a shadow. Okay.
Good to go.
Okay, perfect. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good early evening for some. It has been a bit of a gloomy day across the region. A lot of cloud cover, even tracking some rain out there, and periods of on and off showers will be possible as we head throughout the rest of the noon. Now, showers should likely decrease in coverage as we head into the evening hours. I can't rule out a few spotty stray showers or maybe even a few thunderstorms, but no severe weather as we head throughout the rest of your Saturday. I just would expect some disruptions or impacts with any of your weekend plans. Keep the umbrella handy. The activity we're tracking now mainly across northwest Alabama. Light in nature, not even seeing any lightning strikes out there, but again, lightning will be possible as we head into the late evening hours. Temperatures warm despite all the cloud cover and rain today. If I can go ahead and get to the next graphic, it is kind of finicky back here. Again, we have moved from our weather center back into the CTV center, so just bear with us for a moment. We are tracking an area of low pressure situated off to our west, and we're pulling in a lot of moisture from the Gulf. That's creating some heavier downpours the farther south you go, but as of right now, Tennessee Valley just dealing with some light rainfall, and again, little to no impacts as we head throughout the rest of the day in terms of severe weather. The severe threat still on tap to arrive as we head into Sunday, and temperature is going to be much warmer than today. We're sitting in the lower and middle 70s, winds breezy out of the south and east. Expect occasional gusts as high as 15, even 25 miles per hour through much of the evening hours, and overnight lows will stay mild and muggy with increasing humidity levels overnight. A look at your rain and storm timeline throughout the rest of the evening. Again, isolated to widely scattered showers, maybe a few isolated thunderstorms possible, but most of this activity will decrease in coverage as we head into the late evening hours. We could see this pick back up again, a bit of a tricky forecast as we head through the early morning hours on Saturday and likely through Saturday afternoon, but we're going to see a break in the wet weather before that primary line of strong to severe storms arrives by the late evening hours, and model guidance continues to push this later and later. Again, right now the current timeline is going to be close to midnight for areas in northwest Alabama. And this is going to quickly push to the east through the early morning hours on Monday. So hour by hour throughout the rest of the day. Scattered showers possible. Thunderstorms going to be few far in between, with temperatures staying in the 60s for the most part. Many of you going to be dry by the time you wake up on Sunday, but I would just play it on the safe side. Maybe grab the rain gear if you have somewhere early to be. We will see more development throughout the mid to late morning hours and into the afternoon. This is going to be primarily focused along and east of I-65. Areas to the west staying dry, but then we're going to see skies clear, and this is where instability, the fuel for thunderstorms that we'll be tracking later on in the day, will likely rise. Instability levels look to be anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. That is quite high, but the wind shear still limited. There are some things we're watching as we head into the evening, and this includes potentially what we call a mesoscale convective system that will be tracking in from northern Mississippi approaching the Tennessee Valley. This would create a gap in severe weather in terms of North Alabama and also southern Middle Tennessee. We're watching that, and we're also watching the potential for a warm sector. That's essentially where we get into the most favorable environment for severe storms that could develop, especially along and west of I-65. And this is where we could see supercellular storms form, which would overall enhance the severe threat, especially the threat for tornadoes. Right now, overall, the threat for tornadoes quite low. Isolated tornadoes possible, especially for northwest Alabama, but there are going to be much lower instability values the farther east that you go. So hour by hour, this line will be approaching areas to the west around midnight. Areas along I-65 likely between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. This remains an overnight event, so please have more than one way to receive your weather alerts. I recommend downloading our 48 First Alert weather app, a NOAA weather radio. That's also a great tool. It's very loud. I promise it will wake you up if need be. All modes of severe weather possible, with tornado threat being likely the lowest, but we could be tracking very large hail, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches in diameter. That would definitely cause some damage to your property. And then we will be tracking damaging straight line wind gusts, anywhere from 60 to 65 miles per hour. The flooding threat has decreased a bit just because the system is going to be moving quite quickly, even though it's going to be producing a lot of heavy rainfall. And we should see that severe threat wind down anywhere between the hours of 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So again, if you are along and west of I-65, you have the highest threat for severe weather. There is still a lot of variables that we're watching for as we head throughout the next 24 to 48 hours. But note, everyone in the Tennessee Valley is under some sort of risk for severe weather, so don't think just because you live to the east, you're not going to see severe weather. It's just a bit higher the farther west that you go. Storms will clear out likely after 7, 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday, with much drier air filtering in. And again, we will be tracking several inches of rainfall, and we're watching for a very narrow band of heavy rain to set up. These higher totals would include areas like Florence back through Athens, Limestone County into Decatur. You could receive 2.5 up to even 3.5 inches of rain. We have seen some dry days here lately though, so again, not as concerned with that flooding threat, but we still will be watching it quite closely. Some isolated areas might receive less than ½ an inch of rain. Again, these are going to be widely spread, varied totals. Drier air moves in on Monday. We enjoy a nice reprieve from the storms through Tuesday, but yet again, the pattern remains active as we're tracking another round of showers and storms, likely late Wednesday into Thursday. This is going to be a similar setup where areas to the west have the higher threat of severe weather. The Storm Prediction Center has already outlined an enhanced area that's going to be a level 3 out of 5 risk for the far northwestern part of the state, where the rest of the area is basically under a slight or a marginal risk. Of course, we have a lot of time before we get there, and we have a lot of details to iron out as well in terms of timing and intensity with that next threat. Of course, we'll be keeping you updated, but we have to get through this weekend first. Today, not tracking any severe weather as we head into Sunday, though. That will change quickly, especially by the late evening hours. Much of the day will be dry, with the exception of showers and storms developing through the mid to late morning hours and into the afternoon. But we will see some sunshine peek out by the late afternoon, early evening, and right around midnight is when that primary line of storms will be rushing in. That will race to the east very quickly, and that will be bringing all modes of severe weather, isolated tornadoes. We could see these mainly spin up in nature, but if we do see those warm sector storms for northwest Alabama, that would enhance the severe threat and give us the supercellular storms. Again, those could be stronger tornadoes. We could also be completely capped through the evening. That means that we're going to have a warm layer aloft in the atmosphere, which basically acts like a lid where storms are not able to rise and reach their full potential. That would always be great news, but these are just some scenarios that we're going to be watching for, so please pay close attention as we provide updates throughout the rest of this evening. We have shows coming up at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock this evening, and also we'll have shows tomorrow at 5 and 10 o'clock, and we are going to be streaming on all platforms, Facebook Live, Roku, YouTube, you name it. we will be there and we will be breaking into programming if need be. The storms will exit quite early on Monday morning. A bit of relief from the active weather Tuesday, partly cloudy, temperatures slightly cooler in the upper 60s, lower 70s, but we quickly warm back up near 80 degrees, tracking our next threat for strong to severe storms late Wednesday into Thursday, with more storms lingering throughout the rest of the week and likely into next weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of our Weather Extra. We'll be having more updates throughout the rest of the evening, tomorrow morning, and of course tomorrow evening.